To start off, you're going to cut your red onion into nice thin strips. Then you're going to cut your red pepper into strips as well, your green pepper, and lastly, your yellow pepper into nice thin strips. Then in a lightly oiled pan, you're going to add in your bacon. We are going to use 5 pieces of bacon for this. Spread your bacon around evenly in the pot and then turn it around until your bacon is nicely cooked and crispy. Then I have 1 chicken breast in which I have butterflied. So I've sliced it in the middle and opened it up. I am going to put garlic powder onto my chicken breast. I am going to use some chicken seasoning. Make sure that you spread your spices evenly on your chicken breast. And I'm also going to use some smoked paprika. Once all my spices are on my chicken, I am going to pat them down and spread them over my chicken breast to make sure that everything is nicely spiced. And I'm going to do the very same thing and use the same spices on the other side of my chicken breast. Then once my chicken breast is spiced on both sides, I am going to cook it in my pan that I was cooking my bacon in. So it's got all that nice bacon grease. And I'm going to let it sit there for about 5 minutes until it's nice and golden brown and has a nice crust on the one side. And then I'm going to turn it over to make sure that it has a beautiful crust on the other side as well. Then my chicken will be cooked within 10 minutes. Once my chicken is cooked, I'm going to take it out and set it aside. Then I'm going to take my bell peppers and red onion that we're cutting earlier on and put it in the very same pot. I'm going to spread it around, scraping the bottoms of the pan to make sure that there are no burnt pieces at the bottom. And then once everything is nicely spread, I am going to add in a tablespoon of ground black pepper. I'm going to grind that evenly around my mixture. To that, I'm going to add some rosemary and sage, and then I am also going to add some aromat for some salt and seasoning to our peppers. Then once all our seasoning is in, I'm going to toss that around, making sure to cover every area of the peppers with the seasoning and scraping the bottom of the pan as well to make sure that nothing gets burnt. Then when our onions and peppers are translucent, I am then going to add 2 tablespoons of steakhouse sauce. If you don't have steakhouse sauce, you can use barbecue sauce. Once that is in, I'm going to toss it around as well to make sure everything is covered. I'm going to toss it around for an extra minute and then I am going to remove it off the heat. Then I'm going to take my bacon and my chicken. It has now fully cooled and I'm going to cut my bacon into bite-sized chunks. Then once my bacon is cut, I'm going to set it aside and cut my chicken. I'm going to start off by cutting it into strips, turn it around, and then cut it in the opposite direction to make it into nice bite-sized cubes. Then I'm going to just separate that and put it aside as well. And now to the star of the show, crusts. I always have a problem with these in my house because no one ever eats the crust of a bread. So what I do is I just pack them in the deep freezer, and then when it's time to make this recipe, you take out all those crusts and you throw them in a bowl. We are going to use 7 slices of crust. I don't know if it's called slices of crust or it's just crust, whatever it is. Then we are going to just tear them apart. It doesn't have to be torn into small pieces because we're still going to crumble it, but just tear them apart. Then you can set the crust aside and take 3 eggs, crack them into a bowl. You can get away with using 2 eggs even, depending on the size of your eggs, but I'm using 3 because my eggs are relatively small. Then I'm just going to crack those eggs into a bowl. Once they're all cracked into the bowl, I am going to break the yolks and mix them all together. Once all the eggs are scrambled, then I'm going to take them and pour them into my bowl with the crumbled bread, and this is where the hard work starts. Then you're going to use your hands and mix those crusts and those eggs together. While you're busy mixing them together, try now to break the crust so that it's not these big chunks of crust, but it must form more of a mush. As you can see with what I'm doing with my hands, I'm just trying to break it and separate it so that it forms smaller pieces. Then it's going to form into a mushy paste like this. It's going to be very tacky and sticky. Then we are going to take your pan, oven safe pan, please. You're going to spray it with non-stick spray. Make sure you spray every inch of that pan as to make sure that none of the crust actually sticks, all the toppings sticks to the pan, and that when it's cooked you can actually remove it easily. So you can use non-stick spray or oil. Then you're going to take your crust mush, I'll call it that, and you're going to then put it into your pan. Make sure that you scrape everything out of the bowl as best as you can. Then from there, you're just going to use your hands and you're going to now try and separate it and spread it around in your pan so to form a thin pizza crust, because that is in essence what we are making pizza. So fill it in, try to make it round, whatever you need to do just to make it form a nice pizza base. Then once the base has actually formed and you're happy with your crust, pat it down often so that everything is just molded together. Then now we're going to start with the toppings. I'm going to do a half and half. I'm going to take some cheese. I've got grated Gouda and mozzarella cheese. I like the variation of colors, the light and the dark yellow. So my first half of the pizza, I am going to put the cheese at the bottom and the toppings on top. And then the second half of the pizza, I am going to put the toppings at the bottom and the cheese on top. So here I've got my toppings. I'm just going to spread around some chicken. And then after I've done spreading around chicken on both sides, I am then going to go and spread around my bacon. Then once all my meats are in, I am going to take my pepper and onion mix and I am going to evenly spread that around on both sides of my pizza. Once then I have spread that around, I am going to take some chip and burger sauce and I am going to put it on both sides of my pizza. I'm trying to be fancy here and create like a circle. And then on the other side, I was just, no, it was lazy. Took too much energy. You guys don't have to use the same sauces or toppings that I used. You can use anything that you have in your fridge. The nice thing about this recipe is that you can use leftovers, whatever you have, you can make pizza out of it. Then once you have put the sauces that you'd like, I use chip and burger sauce and steakhouse sauce. Then now what I'm going to do is I am going to put some cheese on the other side of my pizza, the side that I initially did not have any cheese on. Make sure that you put a lot of cheese. You know, nothing sucks more than a pizza that is cheese deprived. Once your cheese is then on, you're going to cook this at 190 degrees for 30 minutes. Make sure that for the first 20 minutes, your oven is hot at the bottom, so to cook the crust of the pizza. You know, that bread and egg mixture, that's the crust. Then after 30 minutes, here's your pizza. It is out of the oven. It looks so delicious. It actually looks like actual pizza. And what you're going to do now is you're going to have to scrape the sides of, scrape the sides of the pot just in case anything then stuck, and then you're going to put your spatula underneath your pot so to lift your pizza, so that when you're now transferring it onto your plate or onto your board, whatever you choose to use, the pizza can slide off easily, as you're seeing mine do. So guys, this is your beautiful pizza made from this thing that people never want to eat in the house called crust. And I really hope that your family enjoys it as much as my family does. Just to be extra fancy, we're going to add some paprika on top. And then you're going to cut it and enjoy it. And nothing about it says it was made from crust. Like, it tastes so good, and you would never tell that it is made from bread crust. So I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. Do give it a try.